So it feels like once a month now we're getting a new video from Idubbbz where he talks about why his life sucks now and something went horribly wrong. Whether you like him or not, I think in a way everyone kind of feels bad for him at this way because the dude just keeps posting L after L on the internet.
Big dog, we got a situation here. I'm gonna need some backup.
And at this point he's kind of just become the guy making a sad face in the thumbnail where he whines about how he got brutally owned by the powers that be.
Can you go? You're making me very uncomfortable. Please leave.
It's gotten so bad that even his diehard fans who still like him are asking Anissa if she thinks he's funny anymore. I've been subscribed since 2015 and unsubscribed yesterday. This has nothing to do with Hyde or Anissa. I never really cared about the controversies, only the content. My reason for unsubscribing is poor quality content. I understand he may be going through a transition with his comedy, but it feels like his last 10 videos have been devoid of any personality. He always comes across sedated with unfunny commentary and video ideas that just seem random. No hate towards Ian, he doesn't owe anyone content, just feel like he no longer enjoys making videos. Edit, resubscribing for now. I feel that he's going through a tough time and I have hope that with less stress, he'll make better content. Take care of yourself, Ian. So they even put the edit after Anissa replied. Believe it or not, she actually replied to this comment. And you can't really blame this person for feeling that way because Ian has not really posted a real video in like a year. Since the Sam Hyde video, honestly, I feel like we haven't gotten a real video on his channel, and that video itself was obviously pretty controversial, but if he was actually putting in the effort to make content, you know, I think people would at least stick around a little more, but these days it seems like his priorities are just elsewhere. It's mostly been update videos that he's been posting, as well as like complaining videos where he talks about why his life sucks now, and when he does make actual content, quote unquote, it's him making like a weird Thanos toy out of plastic.
Oh no! The Avengers are here to defeat Thanos. But Thanos can't face the Avengers looking like this. You must pop the Infinity Stones out of Thanos so he can face the Avengers with clear skin. It pops.
Cool.
It oozes.
Gross.
It goops.
Whoa.
Help Thanos regain his confidence so he can destroy the universe. It's the all-new Thanos Zit Popper. Character and water beads each sold separately.
Which frankly is just about as funny as the squirrel videos, which means not funny at all, and also not entertaining in the slightest.
You've said that anyone who focuses their entire career on making edgy content, edgy jokes, eventually finds themselves wanting to do something more fulfilling with their lives.
Totally.
What is the fulfilling thing now?
I don't know, making things that are rewarding in more than one aspect. I really like, I've been enjoying making projects, lately, arts and crafts. I made this like fidget toy.
Yeah,
you pop zits out of.
Colorful zits?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was so much fun to do. I have a ton of other ideas like that.
Nobody really wants to watch these recent Idubbbz videos. And Anissa even replied to this comment, like I said actually, and said the following. I wish people would give Ian a break. It's been extremely stressful, and throughout all the stress he's going through, he's still attempting to make fun content when he can. He wants to and will be uploading entertaining videos. It's just unfortunate that he's had to make another video like this. And trust me, he really wasn't excited to do this. We are dealing with legal issues on top of all of this, which Ian hinted to in his video. I promise he really wants to get back on the horse, and it's in the forefront of his mind. We unfortunately didn't know how much time Creator Clash would truly take from our life. Along with my immigration and some family struggles, life has just hit us hard. Things will get better. After this month, I really think things will look up. I'm sorry it's been such a mess over the past few years. I mean, clearly even Anissa knows that the content is just not up to snuff lately. At this point, is it really the fact that Ian stopped being edgy that he's losing his audience, or is it that the videos just straight up suck? Well, the latest development in the Idubbbz story is that Creator Clash 2, the big boxing event he put on, which you guys definitely remember had the Froggy Fresh band controversy, was apparently a colossal failure. They failed to raise money for charity and are now $250,000 in the hole because of mismanagement and poor viewership. Yeah, Ian posted a video titled The Harsh Reality of Creator Clash.
Once our expenses are paid off for the event, like all the minimums of like, you know, broadcasting, the hotel, travel, all that sort of stuff, once that's all paid off, then we can start paying the charities. Unfortunately, we didn't even reach the break-even point, right? We're $250,000 in the red.
I mean, here Idubbbz is just saying that despite all the talk about doing things for charity, the event was not even able to break even. Not only did they not pay any charities, he is in the whole 250 grand he has to pay. And this is supposed to be a charity event. I mean, the whole purpose of Creator Clash is not to raise money for the fighters, it's to raise money for people who need it through charity. To my knowledge, the fighters are not even paid much above the cost of training and preparing for the fight, traveling, etc. Beyond that, they don't actually make money, they just get paid for like the bare minimum work. So the whole point to begin with was making an event that had familiar faces, which could also raise money for charity, which is what made it different from these other, creator boxing events like DAZN or Misfits, Happy Punch, right? What made it different was that it was raising money for charity and not trying to make money off of the viewers. And now all of the money that was promised is not going to be delivered, and Ian's critics have another own on him. They have another win. So they can be like, hey man, maybe this wouldn't have happened if you didn't kick Froggy fresh. And while that is a funny narrative to push at the end of the day, I don't think that's even true. Because if they let Froggy on the card again, I mean, Jadeon promised to donate 100 grand, which is a lot of money, but that still would not even make up for the losses of the event. There would still be $150,000 to be paid at the end of the day. And on top of that, the charities would not be getting any money whatsoever. So at the end of the day, this event was probably horribly mismanaged and was just a failure even outside of that controversy. Obviously, that cast like a negative kind of shadow on it from the public's perspective, and I obviously had a negative view of how that was handled, but at the same time, they were from the start, right? The game was rigged from the start.
I foolishly thought that the success of last year should be a minimum, a minimum for what we are able to do this year. And that wasn't true. There was a lot more to think about. I thought, okay, we're bringing on more talent, we're bringing on more creators. That should translate to more pay-per-view buys. We're inviting more creator guests. I think that should translate to more pay-per-view buys. This is our second time doing the event, so more people are going to know about it. So I thought that would translate to pay-per-view buys. But we did half as well as we did the first year. 50,000 compared to 100,000 the first year.
So for those who just missed it, Ian said they only got 50,000 people to buy the pay-per-view, which means half as many people watched as last time. That is really not good at all. That is horrible. And he's right, there were more creators and more guests, but let's look at who those people are, okay? Because I think that's super important. These are not popular people. A lot of people have pointed out that there were some literally who's on this card, and that's kind of a joke. But in reality, most of the people on the card are like, why the is this person expected to pull in viewers? Not to shit on all of these people, because, some of them I like and I think are cool. But at the end of the day, I kind of have to be honest. Analytics do matter when you're running an event like this, when you're running a business, or when you're trying to raise money for charity. And most of these people are either popular names who don't pull views anymore because they were famous like 5 to 10 years ago, or they were never really that big at all and just have like some connection to the fighters or something, right? Some connection to the promoters, some connection to Ian and Anissa. I mean, Dad, for example, right? He's a cool fighter, but you go to the dude's channel and he's barely even uploading. When he does upload, he gets like 20,000 views. That is not the kind of person who's going to draw in pay-per-view buyers. His opponent, Starkilla, is on the H3 podcast, which, the podcast obviously gets good views because it's Ethan, but Ethan's not the one fighting. It's his producer, Starkilla. And Starkilla doesn't have like a huge fan base of his own. And once again, I'm not trying to like shit on him for that, because like he does have 100K subs. Obviously, most of that came from the podcast, but regardless, that's respectable. He put the work in, right? He's got the audience, and he gets decent views for a channel with 100K subscribers, but most of these videos are not viral by any means. He's lucky to hit 100K views, frankly. And these are just two examples. Myth, as I pointed out before in another video, was super famous like 5 years ago when Fortnite was at its peak. Now he averages 300 viewers when he streams. Is this the person you're expecting to pull a ton of views? Really? Is this the person that's expected to sell pay-per-views? I wouldn't expect him to sell anything. Abelina Sabrina is also a name who, nobody's watching her videos, okay? I'm sorry. 20K views, does this make her qualify as like even a large YouTuber? Would that put her in like the small YouTuber category? She doesn't even have 200,000 subscribers, and this person is expected to sell tickets. She doesn't have a real fan base. She just doesn't. And that's what you need to sell tickets to a charity boxing event, right? Obviously, the first one kind of had a novelty thing going on where it's like, oh, well, it's not DAZN, it's not Misfits, it's not Happy Punch, and it's being run by Idubbbz, so that's kind of a cool novelty right off the bat, right? That novelty is worn off, and now you just have to throw on like a sick event. And, obviously throwing a sick event is cool, but the other part that you have to get down, that sick event needs to have names that people give a shit about. That's the point of influencer boxing. They're not going there to see boxing. They're going there to see famous YouTubers box, people who are out of their element, fish out of water. They're going to see the skinny nerd like Matt Watson box. They're going there to see Markiplier. I don't think he's boxed before, but someone like Markiplier box, because it's like he's a gaming YouTuber. You wouldn't expect to see him in that scenario. But the talent here, frankly, was just not up to snuff. And on one hand, it is hard to get, people to agree to do a boxing match that they don't make any money on and they have to take a bunch of time off work from, which, they also lose money from that. But at the same time, time, like, you need to put more effort into getting better people who are going to pull more pay-per-view, because that's what makes these events work. And clearly this one did not. And once again, I'm not trying to do this whole rice gum thing where I'm like, irrelevant, right? I like to think I'm not that kind of person. At the end of the day, all things considered, these people are not ticket sellers. They're just not. And that's apparent from the failure of the event. The whole appeal of influencer boxing is to show people's favorite personalities fighting. Chris Ray Gun probably was a lot of people's favorite YouTuber. I really liked his stuff back in the day, but that's back in the day, okay? That was in 2017 when he was really popping off. Now the dude like takes a bunch of big breaks between uploading, and when he does post, it's like, it's not bad considering it's pretty inactive, right? 100K views, that's respectable by any means. And I'm not trying to his content or his analytics, but I just don't think this guy is pulling a lot of people to pay for his fight. In full disclosure, I was at the event. I had a lot of fun. I paid for 8 tickets for me and my friends to go there, and I don't regret it. But for me, it was more about going with my friends. It was more about supporting charity than seeing my favorite personality fight, because none of these people are people I watch on YouTube really. And what you have to take into account is that at the end of the day, the majority of the money is not made from people who are there in person. That's basically just to help cover expenses. Where the money comes from is pay-per-view. And it's not that shocking to me that they didn't sell that many pay-per-views, because who would want to watch any of these people fight in 2022 or 2023, whenever it was? I've also been to a Misfits and DAZN boxing event, and that event was honestly way worse than Creator Clash. Less people were there in real life, it was less fun, there was just less of everything. But Misfits and DAZN make money, and they have that as their priority because promotion, pay-per-view, and the live show are a huge part of what they focus on. Creator Clash 2, frankly, was poorly promoted, and while they did go all out with the event itself in terms of actually marketing it and getting it out to people and getting people in the door, they just couldn't do it. People weren't super hyped leading up to it. Why would it succeed? And apparently, according to Ian anyway, which I think is probably a trustworthy source on this particular issue, piracy was a big problem as well.
Amongst the 800 pirated streaming sites, there were between 1.3 and 3 million viewers. So even though there were around 50,000 pay-per-view buys, there were around 1.3 to 3 million viewers, people who actually watched the full broadcast.
I honestly doubt those numbers. I'm curious how they were actually calculated, because I would be shocked if 1 million people were watching that event live. But with stuff like this, if people really like a product, even if piracy is available, some of them will buy it, right? A certain percentage will pirate, of course. But with something like this that, you know, people are really passionate about, which is like creators, which people have like this strong parasocial relationship with, it should be able to bare minimum break even on production costs. If people actually like it and care about it, they will go the extra mile to pay. This time around, it seems like the public interest was just at an all-time low. Nobody really cared, and if they did not care enough to give the event money. It's not like they were asking that much. Like, I think it was like $50 or something. That's not bad at all for pay-per-view, but they just couldn't get people to put in their credit card info and charge that small fee because they just didn't think it was worth it. People didn't get the hype. They didn't feel excited for it. And as Ian goes on to explain, the other expenses just racked up as well. For one, the venue, which is Amelie Arena, was double the size, and it was not filled up by any means. It wasn't empty. I mean, there were quite a few people there, but it wasn't filled. It wasn't sold out. So it was a lot more expensive. Then Taylor Swift announced a tour the same weekend, which meant hotel and travel prices went up because the biggest artist like in the world is coming there. And then there's the fact that they bought out an entire hotel for the creators to stay there, which is insanely expensive. Getting an entire hotel, surprisingly, is not cheap. But Ian did have a reason for this.
Aside from the pirating, we did have higher expenses this year. It was a bigger arena. We went to the Amelie Arena, so it was twice as big. We paid more for broadcasting. So broadcasting team did a lot more elaborate shit, and there was a lot more staff involved. We did a creator hotel. So we bought out a hotel to make sure all the creators had a safe place that they can stay. It actually ended up being good that we got the creator hotel because all the hotels shot up in price like a couple weeks after we locked in the creator hotel because Taylor Swift was coming to town. She announced her tour dates and pretty much everything got booked up. If we didn't book the creator hotel when we did, I don't think we would have had nearly as many creators show up to show support. And our pay-per-view numbers actually could have been hurt by that. We also had events the day before the fight and the day after the fight so that, fighters and friends and family could come together and process their trauma. That was sort of paramount for me because the first year we did the fight and then I went to bed. I got the shit kicked out of me by Dr. Mike, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up, the hotel was empty, and then I got on a flight and traveled 5 hours with my face completely swollen back to Seattle, and I was like, that was cool. That was so worth it. There was nothing. There was no processing my trauma. There was no talking to anyone and relating about the experience afterward. Everyone was gone.
I'm gonna sound like a bit of a dick here, but dude, life is not a movie. What do you think happens after you fight someone? Do you feel good? Even if you win, you usually get the snot knocked out of you. You think physically you're supposed to feel good, or mentally? No, it's a fight, because this is real life, not a Disney Channel movie where everyone hugs and kisses and Cinderella comes out to give everyone head in front of all 101 Dalmatians. What happens in real life is you go home and go back to your normal life. You don't get a pat on the back, you don't get an award, okay? That's how things work. You do things and you don't really get recognition for it, and you go home, okay?
Shots fired, shots fired. I'm taking cover.
Wait, what you're talking about right here is basically ego. It's basically a circle jerk. What you did is basically treat the event like a vacation, where there are all these cute little events where creators can come and fun and like mingle and go to, after parties in the gala or whatever. But it turns out that it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars and you're not going to get that money back. Instead of prioritizing charity, you decided to prioritize extravagant luxuries that you really do not need, okay? People just don't need that. Let me put it this way. If you can't pay your bills right now and groceries are a struggle to pay for, which is a bare minimum you need to live, you're not going to go put a down payment on a new 3 Series, because only when all minimums are met can you put time and thought into luxuries and nice things where you get to put your feet up and massage your neck and the nice speakers, okay? I mean, this is a colossal failure on Ian's part, and the fact he even admitted this with a straight face is surprising to me, okay? The management of Creator Clash is an absolute joke. With the minimal promotion they had on top of the D-list creators they had to fight, I'm honestly shocked they were not cutting corners cost-wise to make it as inexpensive as possible, instead of going all out in every aspect.
And that shit felt awful. So yeah, some of these things that might seem extraneous, in my opinion, were entirely necessary, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Given that charity got $0 from this event, I would say it was not necessary, bro. And the fact you don't see that and hear the words you're saying is kind of ridiculous. Bottom line is, if all these sacrifices were made by the fighters for charity in terms of training and not being paid much while doing so, not that these guys are really popping off anyway, they should have been willing to not go to the expensive after parties where they do in the bathroom on your dollar. I mean, that's a bit of an exaggeration, okay? I do take that back. You get what I'm saying, right? This is a clear oversight, and even now it seems like Ian doesn't understand that. Now, Idubbbz goes on to address some random rumors that people spread that he and Anissa in Creator Clash as a whole are pocketing money, which should go to charity.
Another thing I want to address is there are some people floating rumors around that we're pocketing money from Creator Clash, and that's extremely hurtful because it has been nothing but the opposite. I understand that some people out there don't like me. I'm okay with that, but the thing I'm not okay with is just lying to people and making up shit for the sake of clicks. I mean, this is hard enough as it is. I don't want to make this video telling people that we made half as much or we sold half as many pay-per-views as we did last year. And what I absolutely don't need is people spreading rumors about us pocketing money. This has been a financial catastrophe for me.
Unfortunately, when anyone is heavily disliked or criticized like Ian, some level of schizo rumors always go around, and this is just one of those. There's no reason to think he's been stealing from charity or not paying fighters so he can pay himself. He doesn't come across to me as someone who's super into a lavish, luxurious lifestyle anyway. I don't think the guy's buying Porsches left and right, so I don't really see it. And on top of that, I mean, obviously what I just said is anecdotal, but the real hitter here is that there's no evidence whatsoever to suggest that Ian has been intentionally scraping money from fighters for his own personal piggy bank. You can criticize him for being dumb and mismanaging money all you want. I've been doing it for 15 minutes in this video already. But as far as him being evil and intentionally stealing money, I just don't buy it. Hopefully people stop treating allegations as evidence. Now the next part of this video has Ian talking about how he feels bad about letting everyone down, discussing his own plans to recoup the money from that situation, and just talking about how bad he feels in general. Despite my hatred for Ian, or is hatred the right word? I don't know. Extreme heavy dislike. To be honest, I'm still rooting for him. I'm hoping that he figures himself out soon. But the fact that charity was promised all this money that it never received is pretty sad. I feel bad for the charities. So I did personally donate $250 to Critical Role, which is the first charity he listed in video description. End of the day, the event was supposed to be for charity, and I hope they figure out how to fundraise the rest of the money. If you guys want to donate, Ian is, as of the time I'm recording this, it's going to be over by the time I'm done, but as of the time I'm recording this, he's doing a 24-hour charity live stream you can donate to help raise money. And if you go to his latest video on his channel, he's got a bunch of links. Heavily encourage you guys to go donate to that. Regardless of what you think about Creator Clash, I just think that the charities deserve a little bit more money, so go throw them a bone. Next, Ian says something super whack, which I want to point out.
But yeah, additionally, another thing that's, been eating at me is that someone is trying to take over Creator Clash I know that sounds like I don't know, the plot of a video game or something, but it's real. And it's been taking up a lot of my time. So hopefully I don't have to talk about it in the future. But, you know, if I do, you guys are gonna hear about it on this channel.
Who the hell would want to take over the Creator Clash? Who is trying to take this event from Idubbbz? I need to know that madman who wants to torture himself so badly. I mean, maybe this is actually a good thing in the end because they could manage it better than he did this time around. Guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, who is this mystery person trying to take control of the Creator Clash? So once this video came out, people started talking about it on Twitter, including those who were involved with the Froggy Fresh controversy, and Froggy himself. He actually said the following: "I don't want to get sued, but since people are adding me, I can only confirm the Kids Cancer Foundation of Royal Palm Beach, Florida received $50K along with Nicholas Children's Hospital before the event happened. They were told that was only the beginning, but weren't given more or given answers until the founder of the Children's Cancer Foundation reached out to them. I'd also like to add that the founder of the Kids Cancer Foundation got a call back in response to her email from someone on the CC team at 2:23 p.m. EST, confirming she would not be receiving any more money and the event lost money, a few hours before this video dropped." Now, to be honest with you guys, I like Froggy from what I've seen about him, and considering Idubbbz' recent path, I don't really like Ian. However, I feel like the situation is not so black and white. Froggy at one point claimed that Anissa did not text him leading up to the fight, that she didn't care about the fighters, and a few other things, which, after talking to Harley from Epic Mealtime, as well as seeing some, evidence from calls that they had together, particularly in Twitter Spaces, that didn't look to be true, and it looked like at one point Harley kind of caught him out on somewhat of a lie. You can watch the interview I did with him on my channel if you want more context. He got a lot of from my live chat for that interview, as well as the comment section. People really did not like him. To an extent, I get it, but also to an extent, I feel like people aren't willing to listen to what he has to say. But I think he brought a new perspective to the table that's worth hearing if you care about this drama. So if you guys care what I have to say about this, if you care about the situation, at least listen to some of that interview. And then, if you come away thinking the same thing and you still don't like Harley, fair enough. I can't really stop you,
Idubbbz said, "Hey, dude, I just want to clarify that I'm not mad at you. I just want this event to go well, and part of that is trying to be proactive about things. I want to find a solution. I really appreciate your friendship, and I don't want to feel like I've upset you." This is Ian, I think, trying to be very diplomatic with this approach. I'm making sure this is the first one. Froggy said, "I don't understand what's going on. Can I not work with Sam Hyde? He's been very nice to me." What's so interesting about that text is Froggy gave me in the Twitter circle by saying that I told him he couldn't work with Sam Hyde. And now he's saying to Idubbbz, he's kind of playing like he doesn't know, he doesn't get it. He's like, "What's wrong? I can't work with Sam Hyde," even though he said days before that he thought that I said we couldn't work with Sam Hyde, which I never said. Ian says, "It's a tricky situation. I've personally been hurt by a lot of things he's done. If he's your friend, that's cool. I don't get along with him. I'm afraid of having him associated with the event. There are others in the event that also aren't comfortable with that." If I were Froggy, I get it now. Nothing else needs to happen in this conversation unless I was not really caring about getting an answer. Do you feel like if your boss said to you, Satius, if your boss was like, "Hey, dude, I saw you hanging out with that weirdo in front of the shop. He's always here in front of the shop, and he's like a weirdo. I don't like that guy, and I don't want him around the shop anymore. So if he's your friend, that's cool. I just don't want him hanging around the shop." Like, would you be like, "I don't get it. What? He's my friend. Why can't I have him hang around the shop?"
I'm not going to defend everything Harley said, but I think that he has some decent points at the very least if you're willing to listen to him. Apart from that, Froggy also went on to throw some serious shade on Anissa, saying the following: "When Anissa left Akkadian for Idubbbz at TwitchCon, she knew her future was bright, but she never knew she would go on to become one of the greatest boxing promoters of all time." Now, I believe this is in reference to Anissa breaking up with her old boyfriend to then be with Idubbbz, which is obviously throwing some shade her way, but everyone is weighing in on this situation. I mean, Keemstar is talking about it on Twitter in reference to, his own experience promoting boxing events.
All right, so you know how Elon Musk is supposed to fight Mark Zuckerberg in the Coliseum, like MMA style? Well, Logan Paul just put out this video saying, "I will fight for free. I will fight for charity on the undercard." And Logan Paul means it. Logan Paul will spend his own money in training, all right, to then go perform on an undercard, and he will get paid $0. That's what fighting for charity actually means. Creator Clash has been lying to us non-stop. Creator Clash, the organization, and the fighters have been saying, "We're fighting for charity." That's literally their messaging. Harley from Epic Mealtime says this all the time. "Well, we're fighting for charity. We're fighting for charity." But they're getting paid. Dude, now you have Idubbbz up there and his YouTube channel saying, well, the $20,000 that we pay the fighters is like barely enough to even cover their training. But they're supposed to be doing it for charity. So who cares if it covers it or not? It's not supposed to cover anything. That YouTuber is supposed to be fighting for charity, all right? They're supposed to donate something to charity, their time and effort and their money for training, all that. But they're not. You're paying them.
Bo Blacks is accusing him of deflecting criticism, Willie Mack is clowning on the dude to the tune of 15,000 likes, and I really cannot blame them because this is a big embarrassment for Idubbbz, and it looks to me like the dude has just posted another L. At this point, there could be an account called Ian Jama posting his L's in the same vein as the ones for women, OnlyFans girls, etc., right? So much L content these days from the Idubbbz camp. Gideon offered these assholes $100,000 for their charity event, which they declined because of pride/egos. Even if Gideon doubled that to 200K, Creator Clash 2 wouldn't have even broken even. It was so mismanaged, no creator walks away with any donations for their charity. And it looks like a friend of the show, Nick Diorio, may have even predicted what happened in this situation a bit in one of his old Twitch streams.
Epic Mealtime should drop out. Look, I'm not saying drop the event, because, like, there are a lot of people and YouTubers who aren't pieces of shit who, like, worked hard on doing it. I'm just saying don't f***ing fund it so they stop doing it next year. You should go donate to charity and cut out the degenerate middleman so they can't host a Creator Clash 3. That would be great. Maybe someone else can just rip off their whole event and do it better.
Idubbbz situation is wild because first he does a video like, screw you guys, I'm better now, Creator Clash for life, and then his next vid is like, we lost all the money.
This is a damn ugly world we live in.
But yeah, that's about going to wrap up this video. If you guys liked it, leave a like. If you disliked it, leave a dislike. And be sure to drop a comment down below with your thoughts on this whole situation. I know it's a pretty contentious issue in the content creation sphere, but I'm curious to see what you guys think about it, what you think of Idubbbz now, and how you feel about Creator Clash as a whole. I'm pretty curious to see if there will be a third Creator Clash. I'm personally kind of looking forward to where it goes, but at the same time, at this point, it's like anything Idubbbz related is kind of like watching a train wreck. You can't really look away, but at the same time, you know you shouldn't be looking, and you kind of don't want to because it's just horrific. Be sure to follow my socials, my Instagram and my Twitter, linked below, and I will catch you all in the next video real soon. Tomorrow. Bye.